Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining me every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. And thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do share it with your friends and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth and both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. We have Mayur Kalbag with us today, and it's a very interesting topic that he's going to discuss today. Welcome, Mayur.
Namaskaram. Hello and
And
hi and namaskaram.
yeah, and we're going to talk about rebirth or reincarnation, whatever you call it. And the mystery behind people think it's mysterious, but there are many cases where it has been proved that it is happening. So, Mayur, shall I just start with a case of a 10-year-old
Sure.
boy? Yes. Okay.
Yes,
A
yes, yes.
10,
Sure, sure.
a 10-year-old boy named Ryan from Oklahoma claimed that he was reincarnated and was an obscure actor and agent, Marty Martin, in his past life. To everyone's surprise, when Ryan was interrogated by a renowned child psychiatrist, Dr. Jim Tucker, 55, of his details matched perfectly with Martin's life. Ryan was born to a Baptist family living in Muskogee, Oklahoma in 2004 and described his amazing previous life as Marty Martin. He knew every detail about his previous life as the agent, which even convinced the experts to believe in his past life. So let me just get you the images. One second. So this is the boy we're talking about, and interestingly, that is the the of Marty Martin, the person he was who he was in his previous life. So Martin, the agent in Ryan's previous life, was born in 1903 and died at 61 in December 1964. His mother Cindy mentioned that Ryan was just 4 when he had nightmares that just couldn't stop. The imaginations were generally about his heart exploding and, most importantly, about Hollywood. He talked during those nightmares. The incidents went alarming when the kid once saw a movie called Night After Night and pointed out during the end credits that on him was the agent. Ryan's family consulted Dr. Tucker, who with difficulties managed to contact Martin's daughter. It was found that 55 details offered by Martin's daughter and Ryan aligned perfectly. These included names of children, the street where he lived, siblings, etc. The most shocking part was that in Martin's public death certificate, his age was written incorrectly. However, Ryan was aware of the correct one. So, interestingly, uh, Mayur,
Hmm,
this is just one of the million cases where we've
of
seen this
course,
sort of rebirth.
of course. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah,
First,
your take
if
on
I
it,
can just
Mayur?
take it.
Yeah,
All right. Firstly, Meena ji, can I call you Meena, right? Meena is good.
yeah, Meena, just Meena.
Meena, thank you. Meena, thank you very much. I'm so happy that the internet is working to all the viewers. This is better.
Okay,
And this is a platform where it's not just a kind of an interview, but it's a lovely conversation with people who are watching. They are also conversing with us
yeah,
through
absolutely,
a two-dimensional chat.
yeah,
Hopefully, somewhere in the future we should have people even there, like a Zoom thing.
yeah.
But as of now, thank you very much for having me on this particular what should I say, a facilitating platform where we all can bring our thoughts.
Thank you.
Uh, why do I think that reincarnation is possible? Firstly, as I always say, this is not a session for me where I parrot out uh, things that are on Google. Nothing wrong with that. I think what I should be able to bring out is my own understanding of it or my own experience. So, can I start with an experience or what I felt,
Absolutely.
which is connected with reincarnation?
Yeah, yeah.
It was 2001, and I was this was the trip to Manasarovar, and when I was in, when we were approaching from the hotel Everest in Nepal, we were going on towards Tibet because Manasarovar and Kailash are in Tibet,
Yeah.
the Himalayas. See what happened is, Meena. Until then, it was all okay. But as we got into the Himalayan region, okay, towards wanting to go to Manasarovar, which was the first destination, somehow I felt, and I keep saying I'm being honest, but I'm really saying this, that I felt I was there. I felt a feeling as though I'm sort of back.
Yeah.
It didn't mean that I was telling anybody about it, because what will I tell others? Like, hey, I've been here before, because I haven't.
Yeah.
That feeling, Meena, of
Yeah.
me, uh, feeling like it is not new to me, and I felt so happy
Yeah.
when we used to see these lakes, and we used to keep, like, I used to keep thinking it's Manasarovar, to be told later that it isn't. But I used to keep wanting to get off from the vehicle because we were driven towards Manasarovar on these SUVs. And I felt as though I don't want to go back because I'm back. Now, what does this mean to me? Okay, even going ahead, when we were doing the parikrama of Kailash, there were a couple of instances because I was in Swamiji, my guru's seva. Yeah, it is kind of a deja vu, but a deja vu, as somebody said, mystic voice. Yeah, but this is like a serious deja vu. I mean, why would I feel so intensely that I am there? I was there, and the best part about such subjects is it is pregnant with a lot of
Yeah.
interpretation, right? Because you can't prove. It's as difficult as I always say, explaining the taste of water. But I can tell you that one of the occasions I was in my guru's seva, and it was just my guru and me, and we were walking from a particular point to the other point, just the two of us. And I actually felt like I'm in a different time zone. It was almost 9:30 in the night, and it was twilight.
Mm.
Those places are different in terms of
Yeah.
the atmosphere, the color of the
Yeah.
skies. And
Absolutely.
I'm walking, okay? I'm walking, and I can't even breathe properly, but I have to be with my guru because I'm carrying the bag with the Dev.
Yeah.
And I was in Seva. But Swamiji had to go there to check on the other pilgrims. And I had to walk. And as I was walking, this was in the almost like darkness, little bit of twilight. And I'm feeling like this is not in the 2001s here. Now,
Yeah.
how do I explain this? I don't know if it is deja vu. I think it is something personally, it is something where I had a life, which is why when I look back, why did I and why would I read? And it's not about I'm just telling you, Meena, my own experience is at the age of 17, I want to read autobiography of a Yogi Swami
Yeah.
Yogananda, which is somebody suggesting it. At 18, whatever age I was, like 17, 18, like that's not the age somebody would typically read that book.
Yeah.
So when I look back, I feel that me feeling this connect with spirituality, me feeling the connect with my guru. And I always say this to myself and sometimes to people is this connection is not from this life.
Yeah.
Also, I think taking a step forward, coming back from the Kailash example I gave you, where I felt that I was maybe in my past life, I was a
Yeah.
kind of maybe an ascetic, which is
Yeah.
why I felt the need to, the urge to go. Why did I even feel the urge to go when I was
Yeah.
28 to Kailash?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what is that? Typically, I would have loved to go to Bangkok or to go
Yeah.
to Singapore, right? But why Kailash? Is because there is something within me that felt the need to go to that place. That I understand as that I have probably been born, because if you really look at it, reincarnation is the transmigration of the soul from one body
Yeah.
to the other.
Yeah.
It is the movement of the soul with certain samskaras that were there
Mm.
from the past
Yeah.
that come out.
Yeah.
Uh, but if you ask me, do I clearly remember what I was or who I was, like who exactly was I? I
Mm.
cannot remember that. But there are instances, like you said, of this particular boy.
Yeah.
So this is about what I felt which makes me understand there is something to do with the movement of the soul from one body to the other. Sometimes the soul is so strongly connected to that body and that samskara, when it wants to reborn, it comes into the other body and it brings a lot of intense samskaras, which is why that person again becomes spiritualized, just like that
Yeah.
other body was, that other person
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to say. There are a couple of other examples, but I'll be quick. I was, when I was sometime back, I was reading about this, and allow me to share this because this is interesting. There, in 1920, there was a lady called Shanti Devi,
Ah, yes. I was
um,
just going to come
and
to that.
and
And
I
I think
was
in
shocked
the
when I was
1930s.
yeah
Yeah.
19 yeah 1920 30s, because even Mahatma Gandhi
Yeah.
got interested.
Yeah.
There was research done in that time. Why?
Mm.
Is because at the age of 3 or 4, when she became 3 or 4, I mean, at that age, she said quite confidently and assertively to her parents that I am not this person that I am. My name
Yeah.
is something else. I'm Shanti Devi or something. And she said, in Mathura is my house. After giving birth, within 10 days I passed away. She's saying all this when she's only 3.5, 4 years old. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the picture exactly.
Yeah.
So, Meena, as you rightly said, it is up to interpretation, Meena, because these are subjects which somebody will say vehemently that I believe in, and somebody will say no. That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened even with the research that was done, or the people who came to test it out. She was
Yeah.
taken to Mathura, Meena. I'm sure you know that. I'm
Yes.
just saying it for the
Yeah.
viewers who probably may not know. She was
Yeah.
literally taken to Mathura by a
Yeah.
group of people who were trying to find out if she's right or wrong, or she's honest or not. And she points out to this particular person and says, he's my jetha, like,
Yeah.
and this is a 3.5, 4-year-old girl, and
Yeah.
she even says his name,
Yeah.
only for them to find out that that person was her past life's husband's brother.
Yeah.
And they used to have a clock house. So many specific descriptions for a 4-year-old girl to share,
Mm.
even, and therefore it became a very, very famous case.
Yeah.
And therefore, when I look back, such examples, like you said, millions of cases, of course there are. But again, Meena, I want to put this up to the viewers as well. I sometimes, and because this is a very open forum, see, Meena, I actually feel sometimes that it is not supposed to happen this way,
Yeah.
because there'll be so much of downloading of our past life memories. I mean, my own past life memories is going to stress me out.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
imagine if somebody is going to be given the strength, or the ability to go back into 10 lives. He'll just, you know what I'm saying, Meena? Like, so many things
See,
he'll remember, yeah?
yeah, when Swamiji was here, Swami Nityananda was here, he had these children do these, past
Mm,
readings, past births. So,
mm,
in one of the readings, this boy tells me that I had about 25 lives. Okay. And in one, I was dressed as a rishi, but I was a warrior, you know, and I
mm,
died in, battle. A very brave warrior who
mm,
died. Then in another birth,
mm,
I was, I used to dress, Parvati Devi, and with the jewelry and everything. And once when
yeah,
I was a little late, she got little annoyed and she kept somebody else. Now, see, I
okay.
find it very strange because, see, my hobby when I'm relaxing is I paint, and I paint. When I paint, I use Swarovski crystals, for jewelry, you know. And that day I was doing that time I had presented Swamiji with a Shiva and Parvati painting where Parvati was full of gold and jewelry. All the
Mm-hmm.
Swarovski crystals were, glimmering. And I said, my God, this
Mm,
is so, it's so strange. And 25 births, can you imagine? I mean, like you said, one birth itself is such a laborious process where we go through
yeah.
ups and downs, and we wonder whether we can survive it at all.
Mm-hmm. True. See, Veena, I was reading some of the comments. I think Aparna was talking about past life regression.
Mm.
Now, listen, this is so the beauty here is to be able to put up my perspective here. I have a friend who used to work with DHL, where I used to conduct these workshops on leadership and all. I'm a good friend of mine, Maharashtrian friend, and he has gone through past life regression. There are people who can, create that. They can put a person through that and make them hypnotize them or whatever. So he went through something like that, and he was telling me, "Why don't you?" So I'll tell you what I'll tell you. What I feel is to know about my own past lives. If I come to know, and if there is something which is not good, because I don't know what I lived,
Yeah.
I may be affected, and therefore I believe personally. I have nothing against those who please go ahead and sort of do that. I personally believe, Meena, if it comes to me, if I'm spiritually strong enough, if I personally get those flow of thoughts, I open a particular, a vortex, and something comes to me, that's okay. But if I go through a process where it makes me remember my past lives, and some of which, because there are instances where in the past life, somebody was told that you were a horse, you were an animal. Okay, and why not? Because we have evolved,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's all part of consciousness. I mean,
yeah,
somebody would tell me I was a people tree as well. I don't know,
yeah,
which is okay as well. But
yeah,
am I? Will I be ready to understand and deal with it? What if somebody was told me in my past life I was a dacoit and I did so many murders? Will I be able to deal with it?
yeah,
I don't know. So I personally think meditation helps me. And can I add one, thing to this is
yeah,
when I was writing a Ghori and Untold story, Meena. Can you see me? Am I okay?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just checking.
yeah, yeah.
You,
Fine,
my
fine.
voice.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're crystal clear.
So Meena, when I was writing a Ghori and Untold story, even when people have read it, they say how like is this true or not? Have you experienced or not? Now, I only say that some of these experiences are from this life and a lot of these are from my past life. Because I do know that when I used to close my eyes, I wouldn't want to use the word meditation, but I would say close my eyes and think and sort of go deep into the subject of what I was writing. I would get these visions, I would get these thoughts. When I say visions, not like, I would get something that would make me write what I wrote, some of the kriyas that I wrote. Interestingly, some of the kriyas that I wrote through my visions turned out that they used to happen before.
Mhm.
Are you getting my point, Meena?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it. So even if I say it was just something I wrote, it has a connect to something that used to happen before.
mm,
And therefore, though it's very difficult to articulate and really give a reasoning behind it, sometimes, Meena, I think when we meditate very deeply and and we sort of allow things to come into our mind, maybe I feel even the past life memories do come in.
yeah.
And I think
Absolutely.
that we probably are not supposed to really know a lot about our past life. This is my personal thing. Our own life, present life is a big bundle of ups and downs. Add to that another 10, 25 lives. I mean, we'll have to do too much of meditation then.
Yeah,
So, therefore, this is my perspective on
yeah,
past life regression. But the whole subject is very interesting because I
yeah.
believe in it myself.
Absolutely. So while you were talking about this lady, so
Mm.
let me just give you a little bit more, since you spoke about it, Mayur, let me just give you a little more details about this lady.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
the
sure. Yeah.
1930s, this woman named Shanti Devi from Delhi claimed that she lived before and had the name Lugdi, in her previous life. She made a convincing case for her former life by describing her husband and the place they had lived, which was 145
Okay.
kilometers away from Delhi, where she now lived. Devi was subjected to
Mm-hmm.
multiple reincarnation pieces of research and was even supported by Mahatma Gandhi. She was born in December 26, 1926, and she started talking about her past life from the time when she started talking. While eating food, she would tell her parents about the food she used to eat before, and likewise while dressing up. She said she died right after bearing a son in October 1925, and also described the painful experience of labor and surgical procedures. The former husband living in Mathura, 75 miles away from Delhi, was still alive, and a meeting was also held up between them. After Kedarnath, after Kedarnath, Lugdi's husband spent some time with Shanti, he was surprised to confirm that every detail she talked about was accurate. He mentioned it was as if he was listening to his dead wife. Then Mahatma Gandhi showed some interest in the case and set up a commission and tour at Mathura to have an investigation. Devi caught the public eye and also described her afterlife experience. She lived unmarried until 1987 and died at the age of 61. In fact, here also, Mayur, interesting fact is that her husband, wanted to test her, so he came as the husband's brother and
Mm-hmm.
introduced himself as that. And she said, "No, this is not
Mm.
the brother. This is my husband."
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no,
yeah,
right. True, true,
yeah,
true. I know.
yeah,
Amazing, isn't it? It's really
yeah,
interesting. I did see, there's another thing to this is when we talk about reincarnation, I was trying to also explore, I was trying to think about avatars, like, Vishnu's Dashavatars. Now, isn't that also mean, and this is again a question actually more than my own observation,
yeah,
is isn't it true we talk about the fact that a god, or for example, Narsimha is the avatar of Vishnu, or Tukaram in Maharashtra is the avatar of Vishnu, or if you look at in Shiva, you will have of Mahadev, there'll be avatars. what do you think? I mean, even to the viewers, I personally think that they are also reincarnations of that higher
Absolutely.
soul, right? That soul has taken form to perform a particular duty. It is said that even Satya Sai Baba was, the reincarnation of Sai Baba. So now again, this is open to discussions and agreements and disagreements, but I do think that even in gods, we always look at avatars. I think somebody's asking me if I believe in
Yeah,
parallel
Martin is
universe
asking you. Yeah,
concept. I think it's Martin. Martin, I believe in something different, which is that there are different uh, there are different what should I say places you can call planets like Earth, which have different habitations of entities and beings. Now, for me, parallel would be exactly the same in a different time zone. That's how I understand as parallel. But I think more about the fact that, and Meena, this is a little wacky for me, but I do
yeah,
believe that sometimes it is not that the soul which passes on has to necessarily come back to earth. There are connections through the universe. So it may not always be that if somebody passes on, that entity has to come back to earth. Sometimes
yeah,
it does come back. For example, in Tibetan Buddhism, it is said that they can control where they want to come back. So, a very highly advanced spiritual Tibetan Rinpoche or Tibetan monk uh, can even decide to take his own life. I've seen a
yeah.
video.
Yes,
But not only that, they can even control the
yeah,
birth, the
yes,
rebirth.
absolutely.
They
Yeah,
have actually said that I will come back as this in this family. Now, isn't that also very intriguing? So Martin, I'm just going from parallel universe to the fact that a person can even control his own destiny of birth beyond, the birth in another time zone. Plus, I think souls can even go into different planets where there is habitation. There could be some connection because, again, like I've said in another podcast, is for example, Shiva is not just he's not a human form only. It's an entity. It's an energy. It's an advanced energy, and therefore it could be a being which is not necessarily a human being. It can come in this form, but it can go to other forms or in other forms as well. Meena, when I'm sharing all this, it's pleasantly challenging to articulate because normally we don't converse on these topics,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting, and I'm really thankful to people like Martin and Aparna and everybody, like Karthik, all of you. Because when I see these questions, which I'm seeing now more, it's interesting because that sort of ignites the motivation to share. Yeah, so this is what I feel is more than parallel. There are other planets and places where there are other beings, and they all have the consciousness. And we think we are the only one. No, there are Nagalokas as well. So what if I've come here from a different loka?
Yeah.
You never know.
So, here, I just wanted to ask you, Mayur, see,
Sure.
sometimes, you get recurring dreams. Okay. So, I used to get this dream where, we're driving, by the mountainside, and
Yeah.
I know exactly the route very well. And then I know when we turn, after the mountains, there's a U turn when you go, behind it, that there will be a sort of a flood, and that we will
Mhm.
be taken in by the sea. Okay. And then the next thing is how to swim and survive, and strangely,
Mm.
I'm not good at swimming. Strangely, I swim like a fish, you know and
Mm.
and the tide is really strong, and I'm still doing it very well. So this dream has been coming again and again for so many years. I don't know what it is, because
Yeah.
even I think Martin is also asking, can our dreams also show past lives? So it's very, this is the kind of question that I'm asking you, Mayur. See, perhaps
Yeah.
certain dreams can also take you back.
Yes. 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 At the same time, Meena, not everybody is sensitive to it.
Yeah,
Like for example, not everybody would get those dreams. So if you're
yeah,
sensitive to it, if you're subconsciously allowing something to communicate with you, it could be something like a memory of your past life that is trying to remind you of the fact that who you were before. I don't understand it myself because I've not had. See, my dreams have always been. Uh, to do with my guru or to do with, so maybe it's the same thing, maybe it's something that is connected, it's to do with my past life connection. I get i sometimes feel and I say that I'm more connected to the mountains, like just leave me in the mountains of Himalayas, I'll be happy. So for you it could be that maybe these are things that just come. It's who's sending the dreams, right? There's nobody said, it's just there, it's in your depository. It just awakens and comes in the
Yeah,
form of a
exactly.
dream. You must understand, Meena, that dreams, not all, right? Dreams can be used as a way to communicate.
Yeah,
You must be aware that there are certain people who've said that in my dream, somebody came, an entity, and spoke to me and told me a few things which later on I found out to be true.
yeah,
So it could be a way by which some people can communicate. It could also be a way where you start getting your past life something. Now you don't know which life was that when
yeah,
started swimming like a fish,
yeah,
but it just reminded me of that Matsya Avtara.
yeah, yeah,
So because again, if you look at it, consciousness
yeah,
doesn't necessarily mean only human beings.
yeah,
We worship trees as well
yeah,
because there's consciousness in that.
absolutely.
Even animals, we
Yeah,
worship. I mean, worship not literally religiously, probably, but we respect them so much.
yeah. That's mainly
You look
because
at
I
the way
think
the
I
yeah,
think our religion
yeah,
wanted us to protect animals and birds, and that's why this
true, true,
respect, huge respect for animals and birds, insects and all, came across.
true. See, there is also another thing is when you talk about dreams, what you were saying. Sometimes these dreams can also be scary, no?
Mm,
It is said that incarnations happen in like different types of beings here.
yeah,
You know, so it can be that you were an animal as well, a
yeah,
human as well,
exactly. Yeah.
a god as well, like a very high being, and even a ghost as well.
Here also, Mayur, see what they normally say is that see it depends on your karma. See, if you
Yeah,
do good karma, you are born as a evolved soul. Whereas if you do bad karma, you will have to suffer in whatever form that you're born in.
true, 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 true.
Another point
Which
here,
is why,
I'll just
sorry,
run another case,
sure.
Mayur, because an interestingly point by SSR in Hearts Forever says, "Hi Mayur, is it possible that father gets rebirth as his own son, daughter's son?" Now here, I just wanted to illustrate a case. Sam Taylor from Vermont was just 4 when he convinced his parents that he was the reincarnation of his grandfather. He was born
Mm-hmm.
1.5 years after his grandfather's death. Sam had never seen his grandfather's photo. So let me just take you to his picture. One second.
Sure.
So that's Sam. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
Sam had never seen his grandfather's photo, but while browsing through an old album, he recognized him instantly and said, "That's me." The first incident of doubt was when Sam's father was changing his diapers. Out of thin air, he said to his father that when he was of father's age, he used to change his diapers. The next time he said, "I used to be big and now I'm small." Sam's father was skeptical about any reincarnation ideas, but his mother wasn't. She asked him questions about his former life and his grandmother, and he surprisingly answered them correctly. Every detail of his grandmother taking care of his grandfather was accurate. When asked about his cousin, Sam told that his sister was turned into a fish by some bad guys and he was a baby again. When going through an old album, Sam recognized his grandfather's car immediately. His mother was shocked when she showed him his grandfather's class photograph. He rolled over the others and stopped correctly and said, "That's me." Sam's father didn't have a good relationship with his father and now believes that he was born again in his son's body to return the deserving love. Now they have a good relationship. So, yeah, back to you,
Amazing.
Maitreya. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that may
Yeah, no,
answer
I was just
SSR. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was also reading some of the comments also as you were
Yeah.
I was
I think this
understanding
one
this.
perhaps you may
Uh,
be interested in. Dear Minaman and
yeah,
Mayur, please do a video on magic and mirror numbers.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
Maybe we should. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because I know a couple of my close friends who are into numbers. Like it is said that if you keep seeing numbers like 111, 444, these are Saint Michael's number. Now, I'm not really delved too much into it because I have my own way of looking at these things. Um, but okay, so somebody else saying something, right?
That avatars
Avtaras
of
of
Vishnu
Vishnu
does not have
does not have.
prarabdha or agarna karmas. They take avatars for a special
Yes.
purpose.
Yes, yes. I want to just add something here. Chitra, you're absolutely right. See, I think these people, did I just said, no, Chitra, that in the context of the Tibetan Buddhist monks, they can control the fact that they will be born again because they do prachara.
Yeah.
Their main mission is to be born so that they can spread the knowledge of spirituality, and that's exactly what Chitra. I think you're saying that for these entities who we call God, who are highly advanced beings, and they want to spiritualize all of us. They will again come back. They can choose in what form they want to come back, and they probably come back and they live as normal human beings initially, and then they sort of evolve. Look at Buddha, no, Meena? Buddha was
Yes.
born in a normal, like a like a prince, but then that was not what he was meant to be, no?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
some things happened, some things were triggered. So that's what my answer is. When I'm answering this, I'm seeing the comments, so it's like I'm doing like multiple things, right? So if I just sort of you know just stop in between, it's just that I'm reading that as well. But there's so much, Meena, about this. Yeah, I think there was another point which I think Karthik was saying. I just read about if a soul, about a little controversial, but I found it very intriguing. Karthik, I think, mentioned about his perspective on suicide or taking life. Now, like, though I'm not supporting suicide, but I think your soul is finding it. If the soul is finding it difficult to go further, it can opt out. Well, it's again, Karthik, to respond to your perspective. It's I would say controversial, right, Karthik? You understand? It's about um, see, I understand where you're coming from, but do I have the right to take my own life for reasons where I could still come out of it? And understand where I'm coming from. There's a person, for example, who's 42, 43 years old. He's going through a lot of trauma because of work and etc. and stress and maybe personal issues. Is it right for the person to leave his body, Veena? And therefore, and understand that okay, in my next life, I'll be coming back as something different, or hopefully, I'll get another better, life. I think that's where I sort of have a different point of view. But there is something, Veena, if you've heard of, called euthanasia, right? Which is legal in only some parts of the world, where if you are at a point in life where there is no coming back because of maybe a terminal illness, you get the right to take your own life. I mean, through
Yeah.
euthanasia. So that's my perspective, Karthik, to what I say. It's, I think, very subjective.
Yeah.
And somebody said to me when we were discussing that even this is part of your own prarabdha, whether what happens, whether you do it or not. But I personally think that it's a coming together of your own purushartha,
Yeah.
as my guru once said, purushartha and prarabdha together. That is where life becomes amazing. That you decide your own fate, and also the fate also comes and helps you to take it forward. So yeah, this is something which I wanted to respond to Karthik. I think
In fact,
Ned is saying something.
there is,
Yes,
okay, yeah,
yeah.
please. Please. Please, no, no, go ahead.
He was saying you see. I don't know. I just lost Ned. I think that was something like that. I don't know. Ned's comment.
Let me
So
just see.
these comments
Because there are so many
keep
coming.
scrolling.
Yeah, I think here. You see
Okay, you
reincarnation in
see.
your daily life. The death of a flower
Yeah.
leads to birth of a seed. Death and decay of a seed springs forth sapling. Death of a sapling leads to a big tree. Now, here, before you just start, Mayur, interestingly, today I had
Sure.
ordered some plants, on Amazon, and those plants had come. And along with the plant that I had ordered, there was a
Hmm.
tiny tamarind seed, you know, with a
Hmm.
little leaflet on top. I couldn't believe it, because I was just talking about
Hmm.
tamarind, and discussing a recipe with my help, saying that we should do that.
Hmm.
And she was saying, "Look, ma'am, see, this is a tamarind." It was amazing. I mean, when you see it, you feel so good when you see a small plant.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to you.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Yeah. 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 No, I was just saying that this is nice, what Ned said. I read once that what a caterpillar calls death is what a butterfly calls life.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
So the caterpillar doesn't, a caterpillar never dies, right?
Yeah,
It just transforms into, it metamorphoses, right? Metamorphosis,
metamorphosis.
right? That's what
Yeah,
it's called, the process,
yes,
into a butterfly. Isn't that true for us as well? I feel,
yeah, absolutely.
um, when we also
Mayur,
metamorphose. Yeah,
yeah, there's
sure.
another case where Dezung Rinpoche III, the Tibetan Lama. So let me just take out his
Yeah,
image. Just one
sure.
second. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, Yeah. So Dezung Rinpoche III, the Tibetan Lama,
yeah.
said before his death in 1987 that he would be born in Seattle. In 1991, a 2-year-old boy named Sonam Wangdu in Seattle realized that he was the fourth incarnation of the Tibetan Lama. Even before his birth, his parents had dreams about the Lama. The third Lama had moved to Seattle in 1960 when China's military took over Tibet. He used to teach at the University of Washington and told his students that he would be reborn in Seattle itself. Out of hundreds of
Hmm.
lamas, only a few of them decided to have their rebirth in the West, and Wangdu was one of them. Both of his parents had dreamt of giving birth to the fourth lama during their pregnancy. The boy was named Trulkula and was brought to Nepal when he was just 2. He was formally enthroned in a ceremony attended by 4,000 people. After staying for 4 months in the monastery at Kathmandu with his mother, he was sent back to America. He was supposed to be in Kathmandu for years, but his mother was a bit concerned to leave him alone. Indeed, the monastery allowed the child's mother to make the decision, but they suggested she leave him alone since she could distract him. So that's another case, Mayur.
Yeah, yeah. Something we were talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
With the Tibetan. This is
Yeah.
exactly what, and I know what I'm going to say right now may not be directly related to this particular subject, but there was recently a video that I saw, and I think it went viral, um, about a Tibetan monk who tells his disciples that it's time for me to leave,
Mm,
and like a part of the ritual, he sleeps on a mattress on the
mhm.
floor, and they all start chanting, these other disciples of his,
Yeah, yeah,
and uh, and then it's the first time I've seen, and I can't disbelieve that, because it's sort of a not a movie type, say it's just a clip from a mobile camera, and the person literally die. He leaves his
mm,
body,
yeah,
and it's part of a ritual because he says that I'm going to come back, so
mm,
he's done with it. Now, that's so interesting to
yeah,
know that people can control their own, like a caterpillar decides that this is it. I want to now go into and becoming a butterfly. I'm just taking you back into that when I look at that, it is part of evolution that the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. And I also think when I look back,
yeah,
today we're talking spiritual stuff. I'm looking at Martin, Likhi, and Rash, and Meenal, and everybody into it. Karthik, everyone, Aparna, so many other people in this. See, and I'm saying this to all of you. I just think we're all these caterpillars here. We're all these caterpillars who are in the journey, and in that journey towards becoming a butterfly, and probably we don't know, even the butterfly doesn't know that
mm,
maybe once it dies, it has to
yeah,
now rise and become an eagle. It has to go
yes,
higher. So I just think, that incarnation, or when rebirth is nothing but an opportunity for that soul, Meena, to become more and more and more purer and spiritual, and towards reaching the ultimate goal of merging with
yeah,
the super consciousness. Now, there are
absolutely.
certain people who I read about, Meena. It's interesting. The subject actually is spiritual. The subject is about spirituality. The subject is about evolution. Um, and I think, okay, I'll tell you this person who was, she wrote something and I read, and she said that there was a point where she almost, even the doctors gave up hope. And in that time, when she was presumed to be dead, okay,
Mm,
in the hospital, she left her body. She could see herself up near the ceiling. It was at that post-death feeling. Okay, she's alive and all. And she was suddenly she was taken to a point where she saw these very highly advanced beings like
mm,
sadhus and all sitting there. Now this
mm,
is what she wrote. Now it's up to us and people to believe or not. She was given they were discussing what is to be done, in the sense based on her karmas, and she was sent back to the body. She's not the only one. There are others as well. And what does it show is this, that it is not 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. It's not that once a person dies, the soul just goes. Now there are people talking about a grandfather passing away or grandmother passing away, born as a granddaughter.
Yeah.
These are things which we can't unearth very easily.
Yeah.
Okay, but I understand that there are so many options that are there for the soul, I think, Meena, based on the karmas. Just remember one thing. If a person is highly spiritual, genuinely spiritual, living the normal life, but internally very spiritual, once that person reaches a point of death, I believe, compared to somebody who is, with due respect, is a drunk, is not at all spiritual, right? You come across those people as well, isn't it? So just understand this, Meena. A person who's very spiritual, practices yoga, does his work, he's got his friends, everything, but internally the core is spiritual and he's practicing. What happens to this person? Okay, and what happens to this person at the same age, for example, or whatever age? That is the interesting part of incarnation. Where does the soul go?
Yeah.
So maybe this particular person gets an option. This
Yeah.
is my perspective. One, you want to go back and again become a sadhu. Maybe you want to go to the, get more intense. That's one. Second, you have certain desires you want to fulfill and then do that. Okay, fine. And maybe if he's lucky, don't go back. Don't go back. You just, if you want whatever. So this is another realm that we have to discover, and I think meditation helps us to discover that as well.
Yeah. Minal is saying, hello, Meena and Mayur Bhai. My grandmother lost her daughter at the age of 15, 16 due to fever only. My mother was pregnant at that period. That time, my Masi came to my grandmother's dream and told, so let me just see, she has a continuation. So, yeah. I will come back. When I was born, I was crying a lot. So my grandmother called me with her name, and I stopped crying. And I was named as Minal. My Masi's name was Mina. So she, I perhaps thinks that it's she's come into her body.
Absolutely, something we spoke about earlier, Meena. At,
Yes.
at times, it is possible that the dream can become a platform, or some sort of a portal for
Yeah.
somebody who really wants to say something and
Yeah.
communicate. And
Absolutely.
interestingly, it's not easy to really explain, but it does happen. And if
Yeah.
she's saying, if it's possible, 101% it's possible.
Yeah.
It's only that you can't prove it, right? You can't just
Yeah.
explain that, oh, this is why, but it happens. And
Yeah.
sometimes they help a lot. It de-stresses the person, isn't it? Like,
Right.
don't worry and all, etc. That entity says, yeah.
Yeah. Mayur, in another case, two sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline,
Hmm.
tragically died in a car accident on 5th May 1957. However, the following
Hmm.
year, their parents were excited to hear that they were expecting twin sisters. Jillian and Jennifer
Hmm.
were identical, except Jennifer had two birthmarks. One of the marks was on her waist, resembling one that Jacqueline had, and the second on her forehead that resembled Jacqueline's car. Joanna and Jacqueline were hit by a local woman high on drugs, and she was later sent to a mental hospital. The sisters' parents, John and Florence, found themselves in extreme grief after the loss. John had an innate belief that their children would be reborn and would return home someday. His wife disagreed, and this made their family situation even worse. On 4th October
Hmm.
1958, Florence gave birth to twin girls, Jillian and Jennifer, even though they did not have twin genes. The fact that Jennifer had two birthmarks resembling Jacqueline was a complete miracle. As they grew up together, it was noticeable how their personalities also matched with their dead sisters. Jillian took care of her sister just like Joanna had hers, and they also remembered the park swing where the former sisters used to play. Slowly, their memories of their previous lives started fading away as they became adults. However, the case attracts many psychiatrists and is considered as evidence of reincarnation. Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable.
I think after a
You
certain
remember
age,
last time I
people
told you?
forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 exactly. I remember I was in one of the earlier podcasts. I was talking to you about this particular this incident that happened with that scientist
Yes.
whose
Exactly.
daughter's
Yeah.
friend
Yeah.
met with the accident. He felt a lot of pain, only for
Yeah.
later to know that she was his daughter in the past life, and that's why he
Oh.
felt that pain, that connection. So yeah, something like that. I think I saw somebody else. Hi
Karthik
Mayur,
has
is it
also said,
true at extreme?
yeah.
Yeah.
When I
What did
consulted
he
an
say, Karthik?
astrologer, yeah, she started talking automatically and told me that I was a saint in my past life and had faced a demonic force or a divine force directly. Very interesting.
Karthik, if you're listening to what I'm saying, which you are, and this thought passed my mind, Meena, that I just feel that there's this kind of connect, Karthik, with you and all of you. Though I may not be speaking to you two ways, right? But you are speaking to me through your chats. I feel, Meena, that there is always a reason why people are connected like this. If you
That's
understand
what
what I'm saying,
Martin is
that
saying.
you'll
Martin is saying the same thing.
is it?
Yeah. Wonder if you gravitate towards
See?
people who may be close to your previous birth association. I think that's also what Meera has also said. Meera Kumar, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm getting goosebumps. See, it's hair raising for me because it could be Meena that हम वो हिंदी में कुछ है ना कायनात
Yeah,
something is there, right?
yeah,
That supreme force which is throbbing in everything. There's this sage called Meher Baba who used to be,
yeah,
he's no more. Meher Baba
yeah.
from Ahmednagar. There's a Meena, I'm telling you, that book, one of the books he's written. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. He's explained how a stone has life. I mean, before that, my whole perspective changed. He explains how a stone has life. Stone, because consciousness is there in every form. We think it's only people, the things that move, maybe the plant grows, but even a stone has life. Now, again,
Okay.
this comes across a little too strong, but I believe my point is there is this consciousness everywhere, but some of us we gravitate because our consciousness probably speaks or rather it's connected to something in the past that we were together somewhere, I feel, which is why
Absolutely.
today we are together like this.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Ned is
Ned is
asking, wonder
asking,
whether, yeah, Mayur can speak about consciousness and quantum physics, but subject audience approval. Subject to
yes,
audience approval.
Ned, I think, what I want to say to Ned now is I think the both of us should have a pre-session discussion. It'll be fun. Because I believe physics is a stepping stone to understanding consciousness.
Yeah,
Physics is a word which was created by somebody who knew English, but
yeah,
there is the content of physics is still at a nascent stage. There are sadhus who live in the Himalayan mountains who know more about gravitation and defying gravitation. You'll be
yes,
shocked to know that there are some people who can defy the laws of physics because
yeah.
physics itself is man created based on their observations, right? And inferences. So yes, would love to have a discussion with you, Ned, and then hopefully, if I'm okay, then I could probably interact, and if the audience is okay. But coming to the
Aparna
topic of
also, yeah.
incarnation,
Just 1 minute,
yes, sorry, sorry.
Mayur. Let me just address Aparna. Interestingly, she said, yes, we spirituals are all connected. Thanks to Meenaji, also to Sushant Singh Rajput. I started to follow Meena Man. Strangely, Aparna, see, we did the diaries in English, and somewhere I felt, it wasn't adequate. And then I expressed my thing to Deepthi, and I said, let's do it in Hindi also, because it's a big, larger audience, and it'll reach more people. And then I also started other sessions in Hindi, and now Ned is also trying to do some things in Malayalam on Sushant. So maybe Sushant is speaking to us as we all do this. We are all just, like you say, foot soldiers, doing someone's dream or someone's, vision or view, that we need to pass across. And yes, certainly, I believe in this. What you said is very true. Yes, Mike. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries. No, in fact, it's nice when you bring up certain comments. Gets you. This is why I love Meena to come on your show and to be invited to be given this opportunity. Is because, honest to God, I don't look at it as a
Yeah,
podcast. I mean, it is a podcast, but it's not just me and you.
yeah.
It is the coming of
Viewers,
the
yes.
lovely perspectives that come in. I mean, it makes me so excited here. Like when the session started, it was okay examples, but then all of you coming in with your
See,
perspectives, I
Mayur,
love
the
that.
same thing. Yeah, this is the same thing that MRB also says. He says, when I'm on your show, I mean, I don't know whether to get excited or not. When I see the comments, I feel so excited.
And I want to say to all the viewers, I love you so much for being so you so much spiritually enjoy interacting, right? It's lovely. It's lovely. And I think these are topics which are like, in Sanskrit, there's a word called vimarsha.
Yeah,
Vimarsha, as my guru would always create this thing, vimarsha means come together and talk about positive spiritual stuff. It's not about agreeing and disagreeing. It's about leaving the vimarsha with a lot of food for thought. I think this
yeah,
is what I feel, Veena, when I'm on your show, is a lot of food for thought. So when the session gets over, everybody is thinking about it, and that's the beauty. That's why earlier, for me, when I come to your show, it should be pregnant with a lot of
yeah,
beautiful interpretations and influences that people will take away.
yeah,
I want to remind, say one more thing is, there is this particular incident that was told to me about a great being who was practicing meditation in the Himalayan mountains, caves, one of the forested areas. Okay, this is a real thing. Huh? And his disciple was walking down towards, Haridwar and a little down the mountain somewhere. He meets a foreign lady. A lady who's a foreigner, and he gets to know her. Generally, she's also a sadhaka, spiritual aspirant, only to find out that she is suffering from a lot of pain, physical pain. She doesn't understand, so she says, "I keep coming here so that at least I want to just seek the blessings of Lord Mahadev and etc." To make it short, this disciple feels that my guru can heal her.
yeah,
So let me take her. So he goes to the guru and says, "I met this person, and she's really going through a lot of agony. Can you please heal her?" So he says that I know whom you're talking about. There is still some time. Um, Wait. Then for a few days, and then after that, he says, "Call her." And then he heals her, but he tells her that this healing is only for some time. Okay, this healing is not permanent. And I'll bless you that you will not feel the pain when you leave the body. And then when the lady leaves, and she feels so calm. So because she tells the disciple, even if he's told me that I will not be living for a long time, I just feel that I don't feel the stress anymore, no pain. So when he goes back to the guru tells him that she was my disciple in my past life, and she's now in a different country, and that's why I healed her. But I know that the destiny is for her to not live long. But at least I wanted to not have her go through a painful death. For me, even that, Meena, is part of her destiny.
absolutely.
That he has changed her destiny is part of her destiny. That way. There's one more thing I want to tell you, Meena, and then you can probably add your perspective. Is
Yeah,
see, you talked about Sushant, all right, Sushant Singh. I felt very, like all of us who have seen this, very frustrated, very hurt at what happened, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. You know what's happening. But tell me one thing. I'm asking you this question, Meena. Is it that when you said he is still communicating with us, right? You said that. So are you saying that that soul of Sushant Singh Rajput has not yet
no,
taken a form of a different
exactly. It's
being?
not. Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's
still
what I think.
waiting. It's not happy. It's because I've been told that a lot of souls are unsatisfied because they're not happy with the way that that they had to leave the body, like
Yeah,
accidents, for example. They'll want to communicate. They'll want to, sort of assertively or aggressively want to come back and in their own way, influence. So is that what is happening,
yes,
Meena? Because
yes,
otherwise,
exactly.
the soul would have
That's
been
what
in a different form. And
that's what exactly we
mm,
mean. And also, see, let me tell you something. See, when I was in Udaipur, there was, the hotel that we were staying in at Lita. There an astrologer came over there, and he said that, see, he'd like to see if you're interested. So I mean, we were not doing anything. So I decided to show my this
mm,
thing, and he said, see, you have an uncle, who's standing behind you, and he's saying that, see, you're
mm.
supposed to do something for him, and you haven't done it. And
Oh.
unless you do it, he will not
Mm,
go. So then I remembered I was working on my father's brother's autobiography, which was in Malayalam, and I had to
mm,
do it in English, so that it would reach more people. And then I said,
mm,
yes,
mm,
I have to translate it into English and make it a book. Then what I did was, immediately when I came back to Dubai, I completed it. It was launched
mm,
by Modi. And so what happened was, then I knew that, see, that was a duty that he was reminding me of. Similarly, now Sushant is in such a position where I'm sure. It's not only he's not bothered about himself. He's bothered about what is going to happen to the future of many children,
Hmm.
youngsters. So there is a duty that needs to be fulfilled, and he can only see it through happening through certain people. So that's why he's
Right.
pushing a lot of us to go. you know
So, just to add a little perspective here, see, I have not really, the way we have delved into this, I have not, and I'm connecting this to the subject as well. So, it's not like I'm digressing. But I feel that people who are spiritual, no, people who are spiritual, who are practicing some form of meditation in their own way, or have a guru, their ability or their subconscious strength to understand life and death is at a higher level, I feel. Okay,
yeah,
and I'm connected to Sushant Singh as well. I'm sure you know that Sushant Singh Rajput was also somebody who believed in planets and life and etc. He had one of the most expensive telescopes in his Bandra house.
yes,
Why? Because he used to believe that there is something he wanted to explore that. Now he was very childlike, so but then he was very spiritual. In fact, I've seen a couple of videos where he would sing bhajans
yes,
and so nice from his heart. Again, I'm connecting it that maybe
yeah,
this entity was spiritual enough that even after what happened to him, that soul is not willing to take another form. It wants to connect and it wants to. So that is also part of the subject of incarnation. That incarnation doesn't mean that you you die, you get a body. It doesn't. It doesn't always. Isn't that what you're saying, Meena? That sometimes
yeah,
there's a
absolutely,
purpose for which the soul doesn't suddenly get into a body. It has to
yeah, yeah,
fulfill something. And
yeah,
if it isn't, then it'll communicate, like you were talking about your uncle as well. So
yes,
yeah, I
yes,
think there are some nice comments coming in as well.
yes, very much, very much. SSR will come back and fulfill his mission. I'm not sure whether you
Yeah.
believe, but Sushant is a deva sent by Durga Shakti to do work on earth. He's still doing his work on earth, yes. In fact, Radhika, see, today I did a session on, in Hindi on some of the people who could be responsible for his death. And this is a tweet, what do you call a string of tweets by a person on Twitter, and how he has summed up the whole thing brilliantly. Now, whether it is true or not is, of course, up to you to believe. But I put it across, and there we connect all the dots. And yes, there was something that he wanted to expose, and this he has mentioned in his diary also. And that were two very important things: was drugs and the a mafia behind it, and second was trafficking of children. So these two things were his aim. He was planning to have a press conference, just like Sunanda Pushkar was going to have. A day before that, he was killed. So, you know, very sad, but
Before we, sort of talk about other aspects as well, I just want to say that you can hear. Is everything okay?
yes,
I'm just
yes, very
hope I've
good.
not
Yeah.
lost you guys, right?
No, no, no. I'm just
Hello.
looking at some of the comments as well. Yeah.
Okay. Can
Please,
you?
please, please. Yeah,
Okay. I'm just not seeing myself on the screen with you. So
yeah,
if you can hear me, let me just continue. That was
yeah, yeah. We can hear you, and you're looking very good. Yes. Now we've lost him. Jyoti, he's available on Instagram, and he would love to connect with you. In fact, he interacts with a lot of people on his Instagram. I'll just wait for him to rejoin, friends. Shilpa says Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. Shambho is the bhajan that SSR sang. Yeah, so going back to the session that we had in Hindi, so that's something perhaps you'd like to look at, where we connect the dots as to how and who were the people responsible, according to the person who has tweeted. Interestingly, Chitra says, normally any spiritual knowledge one gathers in this life will not be wasted. It becomes a part of our subtle body, and when we have a new body, we can start from where we left. Very interesting. Goddess says, a PLR session can be a very deeply emotional experience, hence, a very good therapist should physically be there to steer the soul away from each previous incarnation safely and on time. Yes. Karthik says, Mayur sir, can we connect through any other way like Insta? Yes, Karthik is available on Instagram. Last time also he said that he's available on Instagram, and he will certainly, answer. A lot of the youngsters are connecting with him on Instagram. Thank you, Jyoti. for that. Mayur, is there something you would like to tell us? He's just gone off, so let's see if he'll join. Meena, ma'am, and Mayurji loved your Mount Kailash video. Thank you so much. You're fearless and doing the good work and walking on the right path. Thank you, Jyoti. That's something we've been doing for some time. I hope it bears results as well. Neelam, he's relieved from all the suffering which he was going at the physical world. God bless him with lots of love to SSR, pure and innocent soul. Chitra. Meenadi, it's great of you channeling these things. My pranams to you for taking this humongous effort. Sujata, you can email me your details, and certainly we'll discuss. What you do. My bad luck, I missed it. You can see it again, Lopa. Let me just add him if he's there. I think some problem with the net. Renu says an amazing session as always. Hit like button. Thank you, Karthik. I lost my brother last month, but I strongly feel we will again meet in next life. My question, yeah, he's back. Yeah, welcome back, Mayur. I think some net problem. Can you
Hello?
hear me? Yeah, I think there was some
In
net issue.
action?
Yeah, yeah. I think some problem was there. My question is the way SSR passed away from this
Okay.
life is so, yeah, hurtful. How does karma apply to SSR soul? Would you like to take that?
Yes. Yes. Sure. I think something happened with the Wi-Fi, so I was out.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. My question is
Okay.
the way SSR passed from this life is so hurtful.
Yeah.
How does karma apply to?
Mm. See, okay, I'll put it this way with an example, and then we'll get into the direct answer. Is if you heard of the great sage Raman Maharshi,
Yes.
okay, from the south, from Tiruvannamalai.
Yeah.
In last part of his life, he was suffering from cancer. He
Mm,
barely could walk. Okay,
mm,
now and then he passed away. But he's one of the most amazing sages, right? He was an advanced being from the. He was an incarnation of a Lord because he knew what his purpose was, and he spread so much of wisdom, spiritual wisdom. But
mm.
yet he had to endure the karma of he had to endure that cancer. So I,
Yeah.
in Sushant's case as well, uh, certain things in the past life, certain things, certain karmas. That's why it's an accumulation of multiple lives that one leads, and some things happen, like a terminal illness, or even the kind of death that Sushant went through. But the important thing I feel is to be able to find the answers to why it happened. That is important. It happened, yes. Maybe it shouldn't have, and of course it shouldn't have, of course, past life. But and to the same question, I would say accidents happen, right? Suicides which are not supposed to happen. Murders that are not supposed to happen, right? But what is important is that soul, as what we spoke about, Meena, is still alive and and assertively trying to influence some of you to take it forward. That's the way I respond to the question.
Yeah.
Uh, some things
Jyoti
you
said,
can't change. Some people suffer things. Yeah, sorry.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Mayur, my question is how to know about our life purpose. Jyoti Uthari
Yes, Jyoti was also asking me how she can connect with me. To all of you, please, you can connect with me
in
on
Instagram. Yeah.
On
I
Instagram,
told
and
her.
I keep post. Oh, okay, fine. So great, thanks. So that, and you can also connect with me through Meena's shows here. So that's great as well. How to know about our life's purpose? Wow, it's a very profound question, Meena. To Jyoti, I would say that. Can I just say this? It comes from my heart. Is pray for a guru. Guru is he or she who dispels darkness and brings light. And for me, the light is the purpose of life. Who would want to have darkness in life? Uh, I think uh, the life that we are leading, which is a beautifully materialistic life, which is cool. I mean, today we all need a laptop and this and that. A guru is somebody who will put you in that on that path which will make you live with all this and yet will strengthen your core of spirituality. A guru would really give you specificity in terms of how you can, intensify your actions to achieve certain purpose. But if you just ask me as a sadhaka, a spiritual aspirant, I would say personal, professional, and private. These are three spheres in which we live our life. Uh, Personal is your family, right, Jyoti, and to all of us, right? Our parents, our spouse, our kids, if I'm not married, our relatives, our friends. Professional is your work that you do. These are two spheres in which we typically live our life, right? We live our life in these spheres. But the private life, I think, shapes up both the other lives. And that private life is where your guru will come into your life. So, Jyoti, I could only say when if you meditate or if you're doing something like just sitting with your eyes closed, just visualize an entity who comes and guides you. And believe you me, when the yearning is very strong, some alarm rings in some entity that's an advanced being, and then that entity will come and guide you and take you to the purpose of your life. So, at a broader level, it's personal, professional, but if I go more specific, it's your private life, which should be, I feel, spiritualized.
Yeah. So Karthik comes out with an interesting point. He says peacocks are very
Yeah,
shy birds, but in Ravana's ashram, they'll come near you and get fed by you without any fear. That's an amazing energy there. Maybe Ramana is still there.
absolutely,
Strangely, even in
absolutely.
Swamiji's ashram in Nityananda, we find sparrows. Sparrows have become extinct, you know, and then we have
Yeah,
roses
yeah,
without thorns growing. So lots of good
yeah. You're
things
telling me.
where there's peace, there's always
Absolutely,
love.
absolutely. There's one thing I can tell you, Karthik, and because you put this point out, and Meena to all the viewers, there is energy, right? There is energy. There is solid energy. It's just that how many of us know how to channel the energy? How many of us know how to channel the energy? I've seen a particular video, literally, where person who's practicing, I think that person is a monk, Tibetan kind of a monk. Um, you heard of this thing called Tai Chi, where they
Yes.
channelize energy. Okay, in particular, they have specific body movements, so they'll channelize the energy. Now, though I'm doing it like this, I'm not an expert, but I understood what they try to do. They use energy, and I've seen a particular person standing almost 150 feet or maybe 100 feet away from birds. Like I think in that case, it was an ostrich or some sort of a big bird, and he tries to do this, and he's doing this from afar, almost 100 feet. He ends up putting the bird to sleep. Not that
Mhm.
sleep, huh? Sleep as in it makes the bird
Calm.
drowsy,
Mm.
calm, and the bird literally feels drowsy and
Yes, sir. Mm.
sort of goes to the floor.
Mm. Mm.
And he does that to three birds. Now, how is he doing that? Now, this is not to do with incarnation, but I just think that it's such a beautiful world of unknown to be explored. But energy is there. Today, we are connected. We use the word vibe.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the next gen, oh, I get a good vibe. What is vibe? Is the energy that you dissipate, the energy that you emanate, rather,
Yeah.
which gets seen. What is aura? Is also
Yeah.
energy. And if I put this in the perspective of incarnation, I think that energy, Veena, that energy of that old soul also comes in as part of your karma. That's why you find people like Swami Vivekananda at such a young age, Adi Shankaracharya at such a young age, Swami Nityananda, young age, Raman Maharishi, at the age of 13, 14, he leaves. He says, I know what this is, and this is not what it is. He goes to the temple, sits below at the basement of the temple, gets bitten by bugs and etc. etc. He knows these are energies that they carry. Today, Meena, we I always feel with you, you heighten up, thanks to the viewers, my energy to to speak in the way I speak.
Thank
I
you.
was telling the person with at whose place I am here that it's not about me trying to read and journals and get prepared for this. I don't like it at all. It has to come from here. It has to be from my own maybe. Something that's intrinsic with me that I brought in about this subject as well. And I think that's what gets me excited when even people like Vidhi and all of them, Martin, they come up with their perspectives. Their energies are also coming in, Meena.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be
Absolutely.
surprised to know. I mean, it's not that they have to be or you have to be in person.
Yeah.
It's not that I have to
In
see
fact,
you.
see,
Even
after
yeah,
hearing you speak, all these ladies, Meera and Anuradha, see, Agnisha, all of them wanted to wish you happy birthday because they saw your clips and they were so happy. So let's wish him all, for bringing in so much good energy.
Thank you so much. So sweet of you.
Yeah. Smita
I know.
says, Mayurji,
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
a platform, formal website. How do we connect to him and to his publications?
Well, can I just say this because at the risk of sounding like I'm promoting the book, but I would love for you to please read the book. Veena, did you read what I sent you?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
feedbacks I'm getting is so touching.
absolutely.
There's one lady who sent a feedback saying that thank you so much through the book I've become more spiritual.
Yeah,
What else do I need, Amina? I mean,
yes,
come
yeah,
on. This is really, and I put all this at my guru's feet. Otherwise, the
yeah,
ahankar comes in. But I
yeah,
just feel very excited like a child. So, to that person who asked me, and to all of you, please follow me on Instagram. That's 1 second. If you can, go to Amazon and or even Flipkart, but Amazon, you can go and check out my book, A Gory and Untold Story. You'll enjoy the experience because it is what I say reluctantly that it's not from just my this life. So
yeah,
you'll feel certain aspects which will connect you. Maybe your past lives will be connected to it as well, but you enjoy it yourself. And I do have a website, but I'm a dinosaur when it comes to all these websites and stuff. But I do have because professionally, Veena, you know what I do, right?
yeah.
I conduct these workshops, so they need to have. I need to have a workshop. Yeah, Karthik, my birthday was on the 13th of, which is yesterday.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, so it's today is another day of Valentine's, right? So it's a day of love. So I want to wish all of you Valentine's. Valentine's is love, not just love for not only the boyfriend girlfriend and all.
Romantic
It's
love.
love for God, love for God, love for people, love for the fact that we are here connected. So yeah, thank you very much, Meena, for for telling people about my birthday. It's very sweet. I need as many blessings. But it was really interesting. This topic of how the soul goes ahead and evolves. It's really interesting. I I'm feeling that there should be a part two, something like that. That
Yeah. So
way.
thank you, Mayur. I
Good
think
thoughts
our
came.
time is over, and we'll meet you next
Yeah.
week as usual with something really interesting because you seem to be good at everything that you speak about, and you leave us always thinking about something more. So that's what makes your sessions so interesting.
Meena, you know what? Meena, you know why I feel that I feel the session gets interesting is by the way I see the inputs coming in.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
never feel that I'm even in my workshops, Meena, 20 years, I never, ever, ever feel I'm conducting any. The moment a trainer feels he's conducting a workshop, he's gone. Nobody conducts. We all conduct it together. That's why it's great to have a conversation. And I'm
Yeah,
seeing these comments coming in. Some of these points are going to make me think as I go to sleep. Like, Martin's some points about parallel
yeah.
universe. Martin, keep them coming. Karthik is amazing. I hope I can,
Thank you.
meet Karthik once, yeah. And so many of you who have participated not only as just viewing, but with their inputs. And Meena, we have the blessings, all of us, and you too,
Yeah,
because you create this opportunity to make me excited to participate. And I don't know why, but you bring up a topic and I'm like, okay. And then as the days come in, I refrain. It's maybe that's an ego for me. I refrain from reading and putting it to you. I don't like it because then what is the point of me coming? But I
yeah,
do think I'm an old soul, and like my dad said, you're the reincarnation of my grand uncle. And I'm like, okay, so maybe I don't know, maybe something's come in that way. So Jyoti, I would love to know that when you connect with me. So
yeah.
yes, I think Lata is saying, please, please, please. I don't know what is she referring to. Lata, MN.
1 second, 1 second. Oh, they're going so fast that 1 second.
I know.
Please
Karthik, we
reply.
have to connect. You can connect with me on Insta, and then we'll take it forward from there. Karthik.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
all of you have missed out on any questions, do connect with him on Insta and do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can I, as a form of my tradition now, recite a shloka to
Please, please,
conclude my side
please,
of the
please.
session?
Yeah, please.
It's almost become a tradition, and I would love to.
Yeah.
1 second. I have to sip a little bit of water. Okay. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Bhavani Shankaraya Namaha. Om Maunavyakya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसत् ऋषिगणैः आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दमूर्तिम् स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव. All this
Thank
is
you so
because of my guru's blessings, so thank you so much.
Thank you, and we'll meet you again next session. From the
Yes,
viewers, a big thank you and good night.
yes. Thank you to the viewers. Love you all. And thanks for the birthday wishes. And Meena, hope to meet you again on the
Yes,
session next
absolutely.
time.